like us and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all the social media accounts out there. Check out our merchandise and go follow us on our YouTube channel. We're really excited to be doing this podcast, and we can't do it without support. So the more likes and the more follows we get, the more content we can make for y'all. So the big news story this week is Aaron Rodgers has finally made his long-awaited return to the gridiron in a not-so-great performance from the Jets. The Jets lost to the San Francisco 49ers on Monday Night Football. This week, the final score was 32-19, and it wasn't any fault of Aaron Rodgers. I thought he played relatively well. He had a fairly good percentage of completions, but it wasn't an eye-popping game. He threw for under 200 yards. He definitely got outplayed by Brock Purdy, but he was something like 13 for 21 completion rate, and they ran a lot of rush plays. You could tell, at least from my perspective, that they didn't want to come out and put all the offense on Aaron right from the bat. They wanted to let him be able to just feel himself out at first, get adjusted back to playing NFL football. So, like I said, you saw a lot of rush plays, and he looks like in a couple of weeks we should see him back at least 75-80% of what we're used to seeing from Aaron Rodgers, which is good. I mean, before he went down, he was one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and you would hate to see him lose that status because of an injury like what happened last year. So it's good Aaron Rodgers is looking good and healthy. What's not looking good and healthy is the Jets defense. So Christian McCaffrey was out, who is the star 49ers running back. And even without him, his backup running back ran through the Jets defense like Swiss cheese. Jordan Mason had his first NFL start last night, and he rushed for 147 yards. So either this guy is going to be huge, and Christian McCaffrey better hope that he comes back from his injury quickly, or else he might be in trouble. Not because Jordan Mason's as good as Christian McCaffrey when Christian McCaffrey's healthy, but because Christian McCaffrey's glass, and Jordan Mason could arguably be a more reliable player if he plays like this consistently. Christian McCaffrey is not expected to play next week, or this weekend. So I'm excited to see if Jordan Mason is really just that good or if the Jets defense is really just that bad. But leading the game in rushing yards, your first NFL start, ain't a bad way to get going. Aaron Rodgers, the biggest detriment to him this last game was he threw one interception, and I don't think you can blame that on him. It was a freak play where he threw it to a receiver. One of the defenders got in the way, and the defender didn't intercept it. He just knocked the ball up in the air, and another 49er grabbed it. And it wasn't like Aaron Rodgers made a horrendous pass. It wasn't a great pass. It didn't hit his target, but I wouldn't blame that interception solely on Aaron Rodgers. But, yeah, anybody who had the Jets looking like a playoff team, I would be changing your predictions very quickly after this game. Now, there's really not a whole lot going on sports-wise this weekend. You've got the Chiefs and the Bengals playing, and that's about the biggest game. They're playing Sunday. Joe Burrow is expected to be there. He's been having some wrist problems, but he said that shouldn't stop him from playing, so that could be interesting. The Chiefs had a pretty rough start to things last week, and it would be nice to see what sort of energy they come out with having this weekend, especially playing their top rival in their conference. I mean, if anybody has been the bane in Patrick Mahomes' side aside from Tom Brady in his career, it's been Joe Burrow. So I'm excited to see how this plays out. I'm expecting the Chiefs to win, but you never know. Chiefs and Bengals, that's one of my favorite rivalries in the NFL, so that's something to be on the lookout for. Other than that, most of the games are pretty cookie cutter. The Dolphins and the Bills are playing right now. So far, that's in the first quarter. So not a whole lot of action going. The Bills just got a touchdown in the last 2 or 3 minutes. So we'll see how that goes. Some updates on the Tyreek Hill situation. The Miami police released the body cam footage from the encounter, and it's not a good look for the Miami Police Department, to put it lightly. And I won't go too far into it, but if anybody wants to watch it, it's on Twitter. But they escalated the situation unnecessarily, in my view, and we'll just leave it at that. But hopefully the situation can get settled and the Dolphins can move on. But I'm hoping to see them do something. I mean, Tua and Tyreek Hill is a pretty deadly combination. And as Tyreek gets a little bit older, I want to see them be able to make the most of it while they can. And it just seems like, to me, the Bills have been on the verge of breaking through for like 5 years now and just haven't been able to do it. And if I'm the Bills, I'm about ready to, if they don't make a good run this year and maybe next year, it's about time to blow it up, I would say. But that's pretty much all that's going on in the NFL. In NCAA, this was pretty much another tune-up filler week. The most competitive matchup is number 6 Mizzou playing number 24 Boston College. So I don't think that's going to get too many eyeballs on it. Mizzou should win that fairly handily. And if they don't, that would be not quite as big of an upset as NIU and Notre Dame, but that would be up there. If that happened, I think that upsets would quickly become the theme of this college football season. Georgia's playing Kentucky. That'll be a stomp. Alabama's playing Wisconsin. I would like to say that should be a stomp, but based on how they played against South Florida, you never can tell. The penalties will be what to look out for in the Alabama game. That's for sure. Now, in the WWE world, they have already put a hole in my predictions that I was talking about last week pertaining to the Cody Rhodes Solo Sikoa cage match. They've said that that match is going to open the show on Friday. So much for having the first SmackDown back on USA Network end with either a Kevin Owens heel turn or a Roman Reigns big return. I really have no idea what's going to happen now, to be honest, which I guess is a good thing. If they start the show with it, they could have the heel turn and Roman Reigns' return on the same show if that's what they're going to do. I would imagine that they would have Roman Reigns return at the end of the cage match to get people buzzing, get it trending on Twitter, and then at the end of the show, once people see that, oh my gosh, Roman Reigns is back, let me throw on SmackDown and get those eyeballs on it, then they could have Kevin Owens turn heel in the main event. That's just me spitballing. But it definitely throws a wrinkle in things, makes me a lot more interested to see what's going to happen tomorrow on SmackDown. I don't think it makes a difference. There's absolutely no shot that Solo Sikoa wins the WWE title. But it remains to be seen how exactly this will play out, and I'm excited for it. Now, AEW, on the other hand, just had a big pay-per-view all-in Wembley Stadium, which saw Swerve Strickland turn on Bryan Danielson. So they had their big heel turn of the quarter. So it's looking like heel turns might be happening all across the board this month in the professional wrestling world. Now, the WNBA season is about to come to a close. The main storyline going into it is who's going to win the WNBA Rookie of the Year contest, Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese. Angel Reese just got a season-ending injury, so if you're a betting person, I would put money on Caitlin Clark coming through in this MVP Rookie of the Year race, but it remains to be seen. That's pretty much the only storyline I can think of from the WNBA at the moment. As far as MLB goes, it's pretty much The most exciting thing in baseball this entire season has been the Yankees and the Orioles playoff race in the American League East. And, I mean, the World Series should really come down to the Phillies and the Dodgers coming out of the National League, or the Yankees, the Guardians, or the Orioles coming out of the American League. The Braves have got to be the biggest disappointment of the season. Now, obviously, you can't blame it fully on them because Acuna did get injured very early on. But compared to how well they did last year, to the fact that they're now third place in the National League East, it's just disappointing. I mean, it's not even close. They're 9 games back from the Phillies. It could be worse. The Marlins are 34 games back from the Phillies, which is just brutal. I think that makes the Marlins the worst or second worst team in baseball. They are, looking at the standings right now, they're the second worst team in baseball behind only the White Sox, who are 51 games back from the Guardians. Honestly, there should be a way where you can just get mercy ruled out of the rest of your season. I know that would be a major hit to the revenues, but let those White Sox and Marlins players save up their body. Don't make them go through an entire season of meaningless baseball. But, I mean, the World Series and the MLB playoffs are a little over a month away. The World Series, at least the playoffs, are less than a month away. So it'll be high time to ramp up into that coverage. And honestly, other than that, that's pretty much all that's going on in the sports world right now. Like I said, it's pretty much a dead week at the moment, so not a lot of content to get into. So thank y'all for tuning in to this very quick water cooler episode. But stay tuned for next week and the week after that, because we will be ramping up into Alabama-Georgia game territory, which will be huge. And we'll have the fallout from this week's SmackDown here next week, and I can't wait to see what happens there, and more to come. So y'all have a good one, and we will see you next time.